Hey everyone, this is BlackOKC and welcome back to this channel. Now that the Fafnir is available for C builds, it's a good time to take a look at this chassis and talk about its pros and cons, and maybe that'll help you decide whether to spend time on it. In this video I'll be focusing mostly on the Fafnir 5B, which is in my opinion the best variant, but some information is going to apply to the other variants as well. For me, as I'm sure with a lot of you out there, the Fafnir brings back memories from MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, where the mech is a focal point of a couple of late game missions. The Fafnir is also an extremely strong mech in that game, since the single-player campaign didn't have many mech choices, and the Fafnir was one of the mechs that can take dual 4-slot ballistics. In MWO, the chassis doesn't stand out as much, since it has to compete with several IS mechs that can carry similar loadouts, namely the Annihilator, Mauler, and Sleipnir. Let's look at how the Fafnir is differentiated against these three other chassis. First, the Fafnir has ECM and its two ballistic mounts are pretty high mounted. The ECM is helpful for getting in the first shot on an unaware enemy, but in the case of ECM assaults, you'll still get shot back most of the time since it takes a while for them to get back to cover. The high mounts help for when you can peek over a hill or a ridge, but that's not always going to be possible in every position where you're playing. On the downside, the Fafnir has one of the worst CT hitboxes I've seen in the game, and even though it's got huge armor quirks, it simply cannot tank damage. The second issue is that its width forces you to find open positions to fire both your arms and torso weapons, so as to avoid hitting either buildings or your teammates. Maybe not surprisingly, friendlies who walk in front of you are your biggest obstacles in firing your weapons. Since you're so slow, a lot of mechs will try to move in front of you, and you have to account for how quickly they're moving so that they don't get caught in your laser burn, for example. The Annihilator and Sleipnir doesn't experience this issue as much since their arms are closer to the torso, requiring less horizontal space to fire your weapons. Given the above pros and cons, I feel that the Fafnir sits below the Annihilator in terms of overall effectiveness, but should perform better than the Mauler, which has a lot of similar disadvantages as the Fafnir, but none of the advantages. If played correctly, the Fafnir can perform just as well as the Annie, but it's easy to get lazy in the Fafnir, tank damage with the CT, and die super quickly as I did in the first few games that I had with the chassis. Because you can't give a lot of face time in the Fafnir, I think the best variant is the 5B with dual Heavy Gauss and 5 MLs or ERMLs. You can do things like dual UAC 5 and dual UAC 10 on the 5, but it's almost always going to be worse than the Annihilator 2A. Against the Annihilator 1X, which is the variant that's most used for Heavy Gauss, the Fafnir needs to use the lighter ERMLs or MLs instead of MPLs, because it needs tonnage for the ECM and it can't strip armor off of one of the arms like the Annie can. The longer range of the numpulse lasers in the ECM compensates a little bit for the Fafnir's vulnerability to return fire by allowing it to position at greater ranges and giving you the first shot a lot of time. With ERMLs, you can effectively engage up to 500 meters, and the Heavy Gauss will still do significant damage at that range. Remember that Heavy Gauss has a maximum range that's more than triple its optimal, so the damage drop-off is less severe than with most other weapons. It sounds like a newbie tip, but do remember to twist after firing, because otherwise pretty much all that return fire is going to go to your CT. This is easy to forget, especially if you've played the Annie for a while. A final thing to note is that if you're skilling up the Fafnir 5B from scratch, the 5 ERMLs will be kind of hot initially, so consider using MLs temporarily until you can unlock some cool run and heat containment nodes. I haven't skilled up the 5B all the way yet, but this is what my skill tree would look like. As always with ECM mechs, prioritize the 2 enhanced ECM nodes first before the other trees. Otherwise you might as well take off the ECM. Alright, let's get into a match. We're on Tourmaline Desert in this match. Tourmaline is an okay map for this mech. This position though is not so good. A lot of our heavies and assaults are stuck down in this little pit here. We really should be either going to Echo 6 and wrapping around, or moving around to Gulf 5 and then just getting out of this slow ground here. But we see an engagement opportunity with that Jenner 2C who is trying to engage harassing our Timberwolf. Like right now, like the Jenner really should have tried to get out of here, but he decides to fight on. Gets legged, he's in trouble. and he's dead. So yeah, he should have got out of there a long time ago. I missed a shot on a Jenner. I was anticipating he was going to move right, but he moved forward instead. Sometimes that happens with fast mechs.
Charlie.
So in this situation, if I was in a tankier mech, I would move all the way up to the corner of Fox 6 and then Echo 5, and then try to trade with maybe the guys over at that Echo 5, Echo 6 area. That bounty hunter took a shot for the Fafnir. I was aiming at the Fafnir, but he body blocked that heavy Gauss shot. Unfortunately for him, now he has to deal with three of our mechs. Not good for him. Bad move in his part. But yeah, anyways, you know, as I said, I was positioning at a point where I'm being supported by a team. I'm not really trying to tank damage with the Fafnir. Just trying to get shots where I'm not going to get return fire. That bounty hunter goes down against the 3v1. That shot was too high for the bushwhacker. He moved down as he was moving down the hill, changing elevations. Same thing with that Thanatos, just a little bit too high on that shot. I see a lot of mechs shutting down in this match against me, which is not a good idea. Got a side torso shot on that last salvo, but I was trying to aim for the CT instead, but that smoke was kind of covering its face, covering its front, so I couldn't really see where I was shooting. We have another Mad Cat shut down. You'll also notice that when I'm hot, I'm just firing the 2 ear mediums on my right arm and Gauss. So that's a way of maximizing DPS without shutting down. So I lost the torso. Kind of didn't really want to do that, but kind of it was better. It was better than getting my CT shot up at that point. So if I was trying to tank another alpha, I would have to do it from on my CT instead. My right torso is almost gone. Just this Raven left. Heavy Gauss shot right in its back on the Raven, kills it, and ends the match. Puts up a UAV at the end for whatever reason, but a waste of C-bills. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of the Fafnir in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.